On the move, y'all. Hey, Chris, can we ask you some questions?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, what was the question again?
What kind of school do you go to and in what city?
I go to a public school in Philadelphia.
Public school, Philadelphia.
I go to a public high school in Philadelphia.
I go to a public school in Philadelphia.
An art school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I went to a public high school in northern New Jersey in Sussex County.
Charter in Philadelphia.
What school do you attend now?
Public.
So I used to go to a charter school, but now I go to a public school in Philly.
I go to a public school of the creative and performing arts in Philadelphia.
An art school in Philadelphia.
Is it public or private?
Public.
I go to Rush, and it's in Philadelphia. This place is an art school, and it's also public, so, like, yeah, I see, like, a lot of different people here.
I'm homeschooled in Kansas.
No, answer the right question.
I go to public school in Philadelphia.
Do you think that we should have a more inclusive curriculum for African American history and why?
I feel like in every history class, there's always a big chunk of it that's missing, and that's the African American history part. And then you have to like think back and connect things.
I think specifically in Philadelphia schools, we have African American history class in junior year, and I think that that's an inclusive history curriculum because it's meant to be, but I think that that same inclusive history should be transposed over into regular American history and civics and world history that we take as well. The curriculum's inclusive in African American history class, but outside of, I think we could do a better job.
Yes, because it's a part of American history.
Yes. I feel as though they're a huge part of American history and they made a lot of important stuff.
Yes, most definitely, because African American history is definitely an important part of history. We built this country.
Yeah, I think it's a huge part of our history, especially in this city where we come from. I think it can be, having one class to cover everything doesn't really seem practical.
Yes, because African American history is American history.
Yes, I feel like all history is important.
Yes, I think we should because I think it's really important to learn about the African Americans because they are a part of our American history.
I do. I think we should have a more inclusive look on African American history because I feel like every year it's the same names that are brought up. Even when I was in African American history, like we did learn more outside the box of like what we were taught in grade school. But I feel like it should be like more. I feel like we could include more people into it.
No, I think it's good enough as it is. I learned a lot from it.
I think we should have a more inclusive program. I feel like the way we do things is like it's one separate history, and then like it's not. But I feel like the way we like separate the classes, it creates that mentality that like it actually is two separate classes when in reality it's two combined histories.
Are you currently enrolled in any African American history classes or have you ever been?
Yes, I am currently taking it.
Yes, I'm currently in African American history class.
Currently, I'm enrolled in African American history class at Rush.
Yes, I'm currently enrolled in an African American history class.
Taking African American history in junior year, but nothing else.
Yes, I'm taking a curriculum this year, African American history. This is my very first time. I never had it.
Yes.
Yes, I take African American history.
Yes.
Do you think that your history classes before have included African American history equally to other cultures' histories?
Not as much as they should have, because like in other classes, like I never really like knew about different things before coming into this class.
Like I said, in all the other history classes, in world history, we didn't really learn about African American history. We learned that like we are descendants of Africans, but we know nothing about Africans. So I think like there's a big chunk of all history that's missing.
In American history class last year, that it was pretty inclusive of African American history. I think there could have been a little bit of a better job incorporating a whole bunch of different cultures because we mainly focused on like European influence in America. But yeah, I think it was pretty inclusive.
No, I don't think that it was included equally.
No. I felt as though it was very run over.
It did include it, but it included like the same people and never really expanded.
I feel like the school that I went to growing up in high school, we didn't really talk about it much at all. I don't even know that we offered a course on African American history at my school, so I would have liked to see a lot more of it in my situation growing up.
Because we really only like ever went over like what white people did, like white people this, white people that. We never did like black people this, black people that.
I don't think so, no.
No, not really. If it was, I would remember it, but I don't remember anything.
How do you think that we can fix this and create a more inclusive curriculum?
By like including it also in like different like classes like American history and such.
So would you keep African American history as a separate class, or?
Yes, because I feel like with American history, like if you go into American history, it's gonna be like you're still gonna learn about it, but not as much as you would in African American history.
Tell the whole story, not just the white part. I think it should all just come together.
Not just focusing on one side of history or the winner's side of history would really help, because it seems like we only learn about the people who came out triumphant. So if we examined history from all different sides of cultures, then I think that that would make it tons more inclusive.
We could include African American history more in American history classes, and like you could prepare the students for the African American history class their junior year by teaching them more about African American history.
I think we could fix a lot of things by bringing in people who lived through like the civil rights movement and have more speakers, and to make it American history instead of separate.
We could probably correspond it with American history, because this is part of history. Or we must have a class by itself, probably like split it up into like sections and stuff, explore different parts, not just slavery or whatever.
I think for our school, we could be more inclusive by including it in our art areas by every major, and maybe how it plays a role into our culture.
Include all perspectives of history, not just white European.
Well, we can talk more about African American history.
I think incorporating it into our classes in school would definitely include the history.
I think you should put more emphasis on like African Americans in history.
I think if we kind of identify actual accomplishments that Black people made, I feel like the way Black History Month is usually working is that we talk more about civil rights and slavery and how like those are Black history moments. But I feel like we talk more about the accomplishments that most Black people have made, then it's different, and that we'll be able to like better incorporate into history because we have more accomplishments incorporate with other like white American accomplishments in history.